Good afternoon. If you can hear me okay, you can see me all right, put it into the chat. Let me know. Say hi. Hey, BL, how you doing? Good morning, Val. I am thereabouts. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better, but not 100%. Good morning, Jan B. Hey, Spiros. Give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Greetings, Edson. Good to hear. Good afternoon. You're ready? I'm ready too, but we'll give it a couple of minutes for everyone else to stream in. Hey, Felipe from Roma. Good to have you here with us. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are all well. I just closed out my Aussie and a quick scalp on the euro dollar as well. So, not a lot of big trades, but I caught a little bit on the Aussie, caught a bit of the Aussie, but no, not a little bit. I actually did quite well on the Aussie, a little bit on the euro. Thank you, Felipe. Appreciate that. Hi, Minal. How you doing? Again, what I would like, and Philip has done that already, what I would like is for, if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know where are you joining me from. Right, so we are also streaming on trading.live. A lot of new viewers there because I haven't been streaming there for, I'm new to the streaming there. So do drop a message, let me know where are you joining us from. I would love to find out. 2 more minutes and we'll get started. And if you did get into any trades, do share it with me. Let me know. We had a couple of analyses yet from yesterday that has done quite well. So quite happy about that. Across here. Good. AKR Signals from Bermuda. Good to have you. One more minute. I want to try and work out the countdown timer, but I just can't figure out how to do that yet. All right, getting started soon. Again, the link is there if you haven't joined us already. Hey, Matt Nick. I think Matt Nick. Good morning. All right, so let's get started. Again, a big welcome to all the new traders, new viewers, and also a big welcome back to all my regular viewers. Good to have you here with me on the daily market analysis. I've been doing this. I had a short break, running all kinds of different errands, but we've been doing this for a couple of months now already. Actually, more than a couple of months. What I do during this session is really to share with you my views of where I think prices could head towards, doing a bit of a review of the fundamentals, a projection of what could happen as well, looking at the technicals, looking where price is, where price could head towards, combining that together, looking for some possible trade setups. Okay, so just sharing with you my points of view on the markets during this session. If you do have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put them into the chat. Whether you are on TradingView, whether you're on trading.live, whether you're on YouTube, put it into the chat. Let me know any particular pairs you'd like me to look at, any points that you'd like to raise and ask questions about. I'll be happy to help you through that as well. Okay. All I ask for, this is streamed absolutely free, good for you to watch. All I ask for is for you to click on either that rocket ship button on TradingView, that hand clapping thing on trading.live, or the thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube. And also the link is there for you guys on the free trading community. It's on Discord. Do make sure you join up just so that we can take our discussions from this session or beyond this session into the Discord channel as well. Alrighty. Good morning, Christina. Good to have you here. Hi, Haida. Baha is asking for TQQQ. I think I've done that before, but it's not something I really looked at. But we can do that as well. So with that, as usual, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please do your own due diligence before you do jump into any trades. Also, because your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. I'll tell you one thing is that leverage and risk management is crucially more important than even looking for a good setup, than even understanding the news perfectly. If you can manage your leverage, your trade sizing, manage your risk, your overall risk exposure, that's going to be crucial towards towards the whole of your trading journey. Okay, and your profitability as well, more importantly. Hi, Robbie, how are you doing? Good morning, Goju. Good to have you here with us as well. Okay, so let's get started. Here we go. As usual, first off, looking at Forex Factory, we did have the CPI for the Aussie being released early this morning, 9:30 a.m. GMT plus 8. But before we get to that, let's look at what happened last night at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 last night. We saw the Canadian median CPI come out a little bit lower than expected, was a 4.2, got revised upwards to 4.3, was expecting a 4%, came out at 3.9. Trimmed CPI 4.2, 3.9, came out at 3.8. All right, so as usual, when we saw that, it should have reduced the likelihood for the bank, or the need for the Bank of Canada to increase rates further, and that's why we actually saw, I'll show it to you on the charts here, we actually saw the Canadian dollar push to the upside, right? You can see that, zoom in a little bit, at 8:30, it was just right there on the news release, came out, it saw some spike, but it continued to the upside, right? It pushed to the upside. Did not trigger our trade because it did not drop as much as we expected, but it did have that similar move. Just imagine if you had this dragged up here, would have been a great trade. Okay, so I'll take that away because that trade did not trigger, although it did move in the direction we expected. So that was yesterday's CPI number for the Canadians. Inflation growth is slowing down. Right now, under 4% for Canada. It looks like they are on track towards their target of 2 to 3%. However, if you look into the headlines, let me find it. I was just reading it. Where was it? There we go. Okay, Canada's inflation tumbles to 3.4%, but forecasters still expect a July rate hike. But there was also the line where it said um, inflation tentatively favors a skip. Okay, so although we are seeing that number drop and we are seeing that impact of inflation slowing down with the Canadian dollar or the US CAD pushing to the upside, that weakness in the Canadian dollar might not be a long-term impact. We might still see a rate hike to come from the Bank of Canada, just to reinforce, right, to make sure that this is not a fluctuation to the downside before spiking back up again. They're not at their target yet of 2 to 3%. It is on the way. So maybe we might see the Bank of Canada um, reinforce that momentum, pushing it, getting it to that target level. CAD will uptrend, maybe, I think not yet, not yet. Maybe later on. Right now, after the CPI from last night, I think that the CAD is possibly going to be movement on the volatility on the US CAD is possibly going to be more impacted by the dollar index again. Okay. Good morning, Angel Case. How are you doing? Hi, Jamilu. Good to have you. Long time no see. Good morning, Jamil. How are you doing? So with all that, then this morning we did have the Aussie CPI year on year. It was a 6.8, expected 6.1, massive drop to a 5.6%, right? Massive drop to a 5.6%. Again, reinforcing that idea that with inflation dropping that much, maybe the RBA, Reserve Bank of Australia, might not have to continue with its rate hike. Then because of that, we saw the Aussie dollar dropping significantly, right? Dropping, this was at 8:30, started at 6681, at 9 o'clock, dropped, was it 9:30 or 8:30? 9:30, so that's right. So at 9 o'clock, it was at 6670. It went all the way down to the support level that we identified at 6631. Right, it came as low as 6620, but it settled at about just slightly above that support level of 6630. Okay, so did any of you get onto this Aussie trade? This actually worked out very nicely. This was a trade I got into as well, where we look for it to break out of that consolidation from yesterday, right? As they broke out, I just held on to that trade, hit that. I did scalp in the middle as well during that news event, right? So if you did get into the Aussie dollar trade from what we talked about yesterday, do put into the chat. Let me know. Happy to find out. Okay, so that was the CPI number for the Aussie year on year. It's going to be quite important. This 5.6% is going to be quite important because this is Wednesday. By next week, we'll scroll through. By next Tuesday, we're going to have the cash rate, the Aussie cash rate, which is the Aussie interest rate decision from the RBA. It was expected, I think there was an expectation that we might have seen, might have expected the RBA to continue raising rates. They were commenting that they need to raise rates. The last time they did take it from 3.85 to a 4.1. There was some consideration that it might hike, but I think that with the CPI number today, this morning, if that's changed, the likelihood for the RBA to hike rates further has fallen quite significantly. I can't remember the number now, but the percentage of it has fallen quite significantly. So looking at it, it might be at 4.1, might stay at 4.1%. But that's the news for next week. I'll tell you more about that into next week. Okay, that's why this CPI number is quite important today, and that's why we saw quite a big move on the Aussie dollar today. Is this fundamental analysis? It is. It is. When we look at the news, when we look at the data, it is what we would consider as fundamental analysis. Tim, not too late. Just pretty much just got started. Okay. And then for today, what else do we have? Not much else, right? There are some news, but we're not too concerned about those news. At 9:30 p.m. though, we do have ECB President Lagarde speaking, BOE Governor Bailey speaking, BOJ Governor Ueda speaking, Fed Chair Powell speaking as well at the same, not at the same time, they'll be fighting there, but they're speaking at the ECB forum, talking about titled the policy panel. So I do anticipate that we're going to see some significant volatility during this period. Okay, during this period, just watch out for that. It'll be hard to try and guess which direction it's going to be because they are all going to be speaking and sharing their points of view. I do think that we're going to see some volatility, but I don't think it's going to develop into any sustained move. So we might see a spike up and down unless they say something significant and substantial. I don't think it's going to change any, cause any sustained change in directions. Okay. Yes, so we would possibly see some crazy movement in a short amount of time. That's what I'm possibly expecting. Which might, if you're relatively new to trading, it might be a dangerous time to get into the trades. My best advice would be to say, probably sit out, wait it out. You could watch charts and see what happens. But if you're not too familiar, then you might get caught out with the spikes. Right? It might spike up, you buy it, and it comes back down and hits your stop loss. So just be extra careful during this period. Wouldn't want to be caught by those guys, definitely not. Okay, with that said, and then on to tomorrow, we do have German preliminary CPI, Fed Chair Powell speaking, and the USGP number quarter on quarter to be released. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. Okay, so they do have a chance to destroy a good lot of good analysis. So we are still going to do our analysis today, but I think that we should be relatively safe because we do have a little bit more of a buffer looking at things. With that said, looking at the dollar index, okay, today is the 28th of June. Where has the year gone? All right. Yesterday we were looking at it breaking below 102.50. Right, we're looking for it to break below 102.50. Was expecting a downward move towards 102. However, it came down to 102, about 102.32 before rebounding back to that same level. So what could happen just looks like, I mean, we've done this yesterday and we're doing it again today. Right, just dragging the arrow down. Same thing, if I zoom right out, you see that we are on that big downward trend on the dollar index. This is on the H1 time frame. We are on that big downward trend on the dollar index. Zoom back in again. Yellow box. Okay. It's bounced back. Sorry, it's just getting a bit messy. Okay, there we go. So it's bounced back a little bit. If I did this, we'll probably get a reason and understanding of why it bounced. It came to that 61.8 level, failed to break, bounced back up. Right, it bounced back up to that 102.60 or .70 level. So now again, I am still expecting it to come back down. There's no real reason why we should see the dollar index push strongly to the upside unless we see some crazy statements from Fed Chair Powell tonight. So I'm still expecting this to push down to that 102 support level. Okay, just zooming out. 102 fits there. Yep. So I'd like to see it test possibly one more time, then maybe a sustained push back to the upside. Hi, Kelvin. How you doing? All right, so we're still relatively bearish on this. I would say that it is at 102.59 right now. I would maintain this view that below 102.50, we could see it trade down to that 102 support level. Okay, more sustained move, especially if it breaks below 102.40. Right, so I'll move this down just a little bit. But we're looking for this area to clear to trade to the downside. So overall, still expecting that weakness in the dollar index to apply, which is going to influence all the other currency pairs. So looking at the Kiwi dollar, right? Kiwi dollar, we were looking at this during the last session. It did come down, test this level, did not bounce. So it came down to yesterday. We were talking about this, right? Shot up, tested this level, and came down, bounced a little bit, not all the way, bounced a little bit before breaking back down. So I'll take that away. That did not trigger that way. And that channel is now invalid because it's broken. So the Kiwi dollar had that big drop to the downside really because of how the Aussie dollar did, or because of what the Aussie dollar did, right? Aussie dollar had a big drop. The correlation caused it to drop as well. So now we see the Kiwi dollar below this 0.6130 support level now turned resistance. Right now turned resistance. If this continues to drop, then before that we do have point here at 6090, and that's a relatively good point to consider. Okay, and I would take away this trend line because it's broken as well. Okay, so I would put this one here as well as another support. I'll put this as a dotted line as a bit of an interim support. So what you notice here is that the Kiwi dollar has broken that 0.61, almost 0.6125 level, support turned to resistance. Now, as we expect the dollar index to weaken, right? We expect the dollar index to come down, possibly to the 102 level. Maybe that's going to signal that the Kiwi dollar could push back up. Right? Kiwi dollar could push back up to retest that resistance level. But watch out, because what we're looking at, right, still on that downward move. I don't think it's going to come all the way. Would love to see it come all the way, but I don't think it would. I think that what we could be looking out for here on the Kiwi dollar would be a bounce before turning back down again. Right, so I'll be looking for a retest of that 0.6130 level, a rejection, and then a continuation of the downtrend. So what I would say is that you could be looking for selling opportunity 6120, take profit 30 pips, stop loss will be tight, could be very tight at about 15 pips. 15 to 30, I think that'd be fair. That's a fair move. If it does come down to this point and it shows that momentum to the downside, then you could even be expecting it to continue down to the support level of 0.6036 or 35. Okay, but first trade would be about 6120, stop loss 15, take profit 30. Just a small trade, possible small trade to start off with. So sell 0.613, was it 30? 20, 15, and 30. What am I doing here? 20, stop loss 15, take profit 30. Could trade down to support of a 6035, 0.6035. Okay, so we could take a very short, it could be a very short trade that could develop into a longer trade, right? So it could be a trade that you look for a break to the downside. Once it comes down to this point, you could move your stop loss to secure your profits to a break-even level, or to get into some profit level. Alternatively, if it doesn't bounce, then you could also be looking to sell down from about that point. Same thing, I would say 15 pips, 20 pips for 40 pips. So you could be looking at a 20 pip stop, 40 pip take, or 1-2 as well. So hopefully it retraces back up to sell down. That make it a very good trade, good setup. If it doesn't retrace as much as we expect, then look for it to break below 6090 before looking to sell down towards that support level of 6035. Yeah, Kiwi dollar is weak. It has been on the downward move since that high on the 16th of June at 6245, trending to the downside. Then next up, the Aussie dollar. So we did very well. Well, I did very well. You guys haven't told me whether you got into the Aussie dollar yet. I did well on the Aussie to the downside, trading down. Now that it's found, so I'll take that away. So that's worked out well. Now that it's found the support at 6631, it's going to be interesting to see if it breaks, right? Interesting to see if it breaks. Anticipating the dollar weakness, we could be seeing this bounce back up. Very similar to the Kiwi dollar. So we could again be looking at this trade up, test that, and turn back down again. Yeah, I do think in this case, if it does bounce, we might see a bit more than that 6666 level. We might see it trade back up to 6685 before turning back down. So getting rejected by that downward downward trend line. Okay, because of the anticipation for that dollar weakness. So what you could be looking at is 6675, stop loss about 20-25 pips, take profit. Even if it went down to the current point, about 50 pips would be fair. What I'm looking at is this level here. So why you would also see this support level and why it's bouncing is really because of that 61.8 level, right? 61.8. And what you would also realize is that 50% retracement level, as much as it has broken already, we might see it retest again. Okay, but not to, I wouldn't highlight that 50%. I'll say that 61.8 is possibly quite crucial. Okay, so you could be looking at 61.8. It's held, it's bouncing back. If it tests, rejects, turn down, you could look to sell down. Another option, same like the Kiwi dollar, will be if it breaks 61.8, could 6615. Could be looking to sell down 25 pip stop loss or another 50-60 pip take profit down to that 78.5 0.6 support level. Okay. Could see some bullish rejection on this pair. Yeah, I think I would like to see it bounce back up before selling down. Um, but what we've noticed is that it usually doesn't bounce as much as we expect before turning back down again. So just watch for that. Safer option will be if it breaks, then look to sell down. So another thing I'll highlight is that another reason why it's bouncing back is just because of the news. It came out slightly outside of the Bollinger Band right now, finding outside of the Bollinger Band and that support level, why it's bouncing back up. Okay. So Aussie dollar, I would actually say 6675, stop loss 20, take profit 50, or stop loss 25, take profit 50, or 6675, stop loss 25, take profit 50, or sell at if it doesn't retrace as much, then 6615, stop loss 25, take profit 60. 0.6615, stop loss 25, take profit 60. Okay, we have it right. Looks good. Okay. All right, we'll put this pair on the watch list. Yeah, definitely have this on the watch list. Did I miss something so choppy? Yeah, it's just news, Okay, so I would be happy with that for my Aussie dollar. Then onto this. Look, it's forming up. So it's been a bit of a waiting game on the yen. The highlight or the main number now that we're talking about is 145, right? It's 145. Everyone is, headlines are there talking about, is the Bank of Japan going to intervene when it gets to that 145 level? Is it going to intervene? Is it going to intervene? I can, from my experience, the Bank of Japan always talks about intervention for a while before they actually do intervene. So I think that with all that expectation for possible intervention at 145, and that big uptrend on the yen, on the US yen to the upside, now currently trading at 144.10. Definitely, I think that we are looking for it to get to 145. If you're already in the trade, you would have seen some downside, almost a stop loss, but now bouncing back up. Okay, so if you're already in the trade, I would hold on to it. If not, then I would say look for it to break above yesterday's high. So 144.20, I'll say 144.20. Stop loss would be 35, take profit about 80 pips to the upside to that 145 region. Could be something that's going to be very volatile, but I think something quite attractive there. Okay, and it did actually come down before bouncing back up from yesterday, so I'll take that away as well. That away, this away, and drag it back up. Okay, so 144.20, stop loss 35, take profit 80. That's for the US yen. Stop loss 35, take profit 80. Okay, I think that the way it's moving, this might be a trade on the close of the hour. This might be a trade on the close of the hour. I would really just like to see it break above that high, or not even yesterday's high, at 144.17. It's still undecided if they will make a solid. Yeah, it's always going to be a while before they do make a solid move. So um, they will talk about intervention. You see price move, then it will resume the uptrend. Then you'll talk about intervention again. You see price move, and then continue to the upside before they finally intervene, and then you see a big drop. Okay. If you want to find out more about how the Bank of Japan does an intervention, then I've showed you this yesterday as well. But do jump onto my TradingView profile, search, look for the intervention, and it's all there. This was what happened in October last year, where they did the intervention. Wrote a bit about that, so do check that out. Okay, so Bank of Japan, US yen to the upside, done. Still looking for it to continue to the upside. Then on to the pound dollar. So Val was sharing that it got into the pound and the euro long, lost on the pound. Don't know what I was thinking, but when I saw your trade and I took it, I saw my trade and took it, your pound and euro matched my rules and strategy. Yeah, pound did move to the upside, but it was very choppy. Right now, looking at that downward move again. Okay, so it didn't drop as much as we expected to bounce. When we spoke about this, the pound dollar was at about that 1.2735 level. It came down as low as 1.2711, bounced back up to that previous high, and then now retraced. So I'll take that away, right? So it did move somewhat, but not exactly. Right now, if you think about it, it's right in the middle of that interim resistance at 1.2770 and that support of 1.2695. For it being in that middle area, for it being in that middle area, I think that we are going to see the pound dollar drop back down. Right? I would like to see it test that support level similar to what it did again. So very similar to yesterday's review. But what I would say is that especially with tonight's possible volatility tonight, look for it to drop down to the support. You see that the pound has been in that range. I would consider, in this case, in the scenario that the dollar gets stronger instead, right? If the dollar doesn't continue the downside, instead it pushes back up, then maybe look for the pound dollar to break this support level. Look for it to break that 1.2695 support with the next level here at 1.2630. Okay. No, I actually like this one a bit more. 1.2600. I would have this as an interim level. Okay, so what I would be looking for here on the pound dollar downtrend, right, in that range, it started turning down from 15th of June, pushing down. This was the surprise rate hike, and then now we're looking for it to push down. If it does break that support, dollar strength, we could see 1.2685, stop loss 25 pips, take profit, could go down to 80 to that support level. Then you just have to pay a bit of attention to what happens here at that 1.2635 level. All right, so Val still looking for that downside move on the pound dollar, but a lot of patience required here. It does need to break that support level first. All right, so if you agree with that, let me know. 1.2685, stop loss 25 pips, take profit 80 pips. pound sell 1.2 to something 2685, stop loss 25, take profit 1.2685, stop loss 5, take profit 80. Okay, that's if DXY strengthens. Does need to, again, very important is that it does need to break that support level first. Okay, good. Very nice. Next up, since we've done the pound and the yen, yen coming very close, I'm watching this like a hawk. Something really crucial there. Yen pushing to the upside. US yen pushing to the upside. Pound dropping, but looking like it might hold at that level. Then looking at the pound yen. Remember, I was telling you guys about this 183 crucial level, looking for it to push up, right? 183 buy, or after retracement, it didn't retrace as much as we expected, but I was trading this up. I did get into it above 183. I got at 183.50, hit that. It went as high as 183.75 last night before retracing back down. So I'll take these away just to clean up charts a little bit. What I would say is that on the pound yen, with the way the yen is pushing up, I would prefer trading the US yen to the upside because the pound is a little bit undecided, but it looks like we might see further upside on the pound yen. Yes, be very super patient there. Okay. Well, so what I'll be looking for is that if it breaks above 183.80. All right. The main thing here is that why I'm struggling to tell you where to take profit at is because we are in, again, repeating from yesterday, we are in super high levels. The last time we got to past this point was in 2015, right? In 2015, where we got past this point. So looking at the way it does, it's going to be super choppy. We could be looking at this there. Be looking at this point there. So back to the H1 time frame. If it breaks above 183.80, you could be looking for, okay, I don't want to, it's going to be super choppy, so I don't want to be telling you that you're looking at 150 pip move to the upside. Right? I don't think it's going to have a reason to move that big 150 pip. You'd have a 50 pip stop loss. Pound yen, I prefer to have a bigger stop loss because it does have its volatility for the 150 pip move to that 185.40 level. Right? Still anticipating that continuation of this upward move. And we've already seen that retrace. We've seen it retrace. We've seen it bounce off the resistance turned support level. So it's not ready to buy in right now, but I would say above about 183. You know what? To be extra, this is the super safe version. I would say above 184. Stop loss maybe 30, maybe 40 pips. Take profit 130, 140 to the upside. Okay, yep, like that. So pound yen above 184. So, particularly for the yen, I like trading the yen pairs, um, but I like looking for that round number levels to trigger, especially if it has that big run up, right? Especially if it has that big run up, then you'd be looking for it to break above key levels before you would get into a trade. Break as in the price has to close above, because it does tend to, see this one, 183, it comes right there to 183, doesn't close above 183, retrace, because there are possibly a lot of orders right at the, oops, no, is it frozen? No, froze still works. Right, there are possibly a lot of orders set at that 183 level. So once it goes to that point, big retrace before a continuation to the upside. So I would say just be careful there. Needs to close above 184 with a 40 pip stop loss and a 140 pip take profit. Loss 40, take profit 140, but you could be looking to close out earlier as well. Right, always look to secure your profits. Okay, cool. Then onto the euro, right? Onto the euro. Gold might break the lows. I know gold is doing very well. I was doing quite well on gold as well. Um, euro dollar. Euro dollar came straight up, came back down, and then now pushed back up. Let me know. So it did have that little bit. I take this away. It did spike down and then push back up. If you did get into that trade, let me know. I'm super happy I closed out. I was scalping this to the downside, got out before the session. Glad I did, because if I did not, then it's just gone against me right now. So now that gold is pushing to the upside, this 61.8 is not relevant anymore because it's broken. Last night it came up to that 78.6 level before retracing back down. Okay, so take that away. Right now, I would urge to be extra cautious on the euro dollar, because it is, again, sounding a bit like a broken record. It is right in the middle of that support and that resistance level. Right in the middle of that support and resistance level. So I would say be super cautious. Maybe, I mean, this euro trade right now going straight up so far. It is. So if you're not in the trade already, be cautious. If you are, I would say hold on to it, right? Euro dollar, I would say that it needs to break. So maybe 1.0970, take profit 30. You could go for 1:1 here. This would be a kind of a scalping trade, right? This would be a short-term kind of trade, 30 pips to the upside towards that resistance of 1.10, right? 1.1. If, like Hyder, you did get in at that point, then I think that, move it to a break-even level and then just hold on to that trade. I do think that we could see the euro dollar trade or continue to trade to the upside, right? You can see this pushing up. So yeah, the safer entry would be 1.0970, stop loss 30, take profit 30. Because we are also expecting that dollar weakness to come in. So buy 1.0970, stop loss 30, take profit 30. So Hilda just said that looking at the yen index or basket, it is dumping, so the pound yen will fly. If it does fly, then I will be rushing through this session because I do want to get into a couple of trades. All right, so checking pound yen again. Not yet, it's not flying yet. It possibly will take a little bit longer. that across, right? So the US yen is getting there, retracing back. So let's just see what happens there. Hey, Sylvia, good to see you. I think it's the Sylvia watch that I know, so good to see you. Practicing patience. If you struggle with it earlier, yeah, well, everyone struggles with patience. No one is patient. Everyone struggles with patience. Um, oh, what am I doing? Forgot. Euro dollar, I did already. US Swiss franc, right? Okay. So US Swiss franc did not drop as much as we expected, did not test that support level before bouncing back up, right? It came down to that 8923 level before bouncing back up. With the dollar still in that range, but we are expecting it to come down. I would say that I would stay out of the US Swiss franc, the Swissy, just because it is in that range. And you'll possibly already know that I don't typically like trading the US Swiss franc. With that, it's right in the middle. I would say that we should see it drop, but there's no not doing anything right now. There's no price action, no price movement that showing that it should drop down to that support. I would say that just ignore the Swiss franc for possibly for today. Do nothing. Alrighty. Okay. Then the US CAD. So we saw that news push the CPI news yesterday push the US CAD to the upside. Now, again, that trend line still applies, even if we adjust this, still keeps with it. I would say that maybe what could happen here is that it will possibly continue up to test that resistance before turning back down again. Okay, so look for it to break that trend line, possibly look for it to test that resistance and reject. Might present a good opportunity. So I'll be a bit safer here and say 1.32, below 1.3240 for 25 pip stop loss. It could go down to a big move for 90 pip to the downside on the US cap. Okay, no real big reasons why this could see a big 90 pip move, apart from what's going to happen here during the talk, and also with the crude oil inventories. Crude oil does have an impact on the Canadian dollar. So looking at it going from minus 3.8 to minus 1.4, the US indicator affects the loonie due to the sizable energy sector. I think that we might see it. This is going to be interesting because of what's happening globally in terms of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. We might see and how OPEC has been behaving, not recently, but in the previous history, near-term history. We might see this come out as a bit of a surprise, and that's where I think we might see the US CAD see that big reversal down. So this might be a bit of a surprise. This might be a bit of a surprising move on the US CAD. Right? Might be a bit unlikely, but could be a surprising move. So below 1.3240, 25 pip stop loss, 90 pip take profit. So below 3240. Stop loss 25, take profit 240, stop loss 25, take profit 30. Okay, good. Then on to gold. We did quite well on gold, right? So we were looking for it to either test up and break down. It did test slightly to the upside before breaking out of this pattern here, this triangle here. So it did come down to that, it broke out of that triangle and came down to the support level at 1990. Getting tongue-tied. 1990 there. Okay, so this point, I know a lot of you is possibly thinking, I'm going to sell gold, it's going to break, I want to sell gold, it's going to go down. Momentum of previous trend does show that big downward move, but I think that with that support level, just be a bit more cautious, right? Just be a bit more cautious. If the dollar index does dump down to that 102 level, inverse relationship with gold, we could actually see this bounce back up. Yes, you're right, that might be a fake out, right? So I think that it might be a little bit too early to sell gold. It's sitting at that support level. What could happen is that dollar weakens, we'll see gold bounce back up a little bit before breaking down again, before breaking that 1910 level. So I would say that it does need to get below, check some levels there. Okay, right there. So that big move, I like to look at that and find that 50 level, which is right there. Right, 50 level, which is right there, or that one there. Catch this. They just need to break below this point. To break below that. Righty, back to this. H1 time frame. Needs to break below 1907. I'll be below 1907 before we could see further downside on gold. Terrible arrow, but you know what I mean. Okay, so gold needs to break 1907 before further. All right, cool. See some questions about yen. Yeah, it's not doing too badly. It's just retracing a bit. Just need some time. Not going to rush into it. Either can I look at Euro Aussie? I can definitely for sure. All right. Okay, cool. So we look at the Euro Aussie. Thanks for that question. Euro Aussie at this point 1.6491 level here. So it's just tested that resistance and retraced with the next resistance at the next interim level at about 1.6586 and the major one here at 1.66 or 1.67. Okay. So looking at this, I would say that you definitely can see this is a big continuation to the upside, big trend to the upside. For this to push up, what we need to see is either that euro dollar strength pushing to the upside or the Aussie weakness. Okay. So with that, then Euro dollar, we are expecting it to push to the upside. Might wait for it. Aussie retracing, so you see that it's struggled to push up. It might consolidate at this level before slowly, maybe slowly pushing back up again. So I think that on the Euro, Aussie might consolidate along this range. All right, so just doing those lines again. Because of that resistance level here, I think that it could hold. I think this resistance level could hold briefly before breaking out. I still would be looking for a breakout of this consolidation to the upside with the next resistance at second, like this. So it would be an interim level about here and also a next resistance here. So if it does break above this 1.6515 level, then we could see it trade up a move like that. This is a very big move. Stop loss can be tight, 40 to the 120, but you could even be looking at a 40 to 40. However, what I think you want to be extra careful is because if, like we were talking, if the Aussie does bounce back up or if the Euro does not fulfill the upward push, then we might see a possible reversal from here, from that resistance, right? And you see this push, it could come back down to that 1.64 level. So a little bit needs to break that resistance before we see a continuation, but I think that there is a risk of a reversal at this resistance level. Okay. Hi Lydia, how are you doing? We did go through the pound yen already, so the euro yen. Oops. Okay. Looking very similar to the pound yen. Needs to break above 158 before we see continuation. I think with the way the euro dollar is behaving, might take a while. Maybe even might see US yen struggling to continue the upward move, might consolidate along this range. So I think it's all taking a bit of a breather. It's going to consolidate, but I wouldn't bet to sell it down. I'll still be looking for that upside on the euro yen, similar to yesterday. Pound yen consolidating, still looking for the upside, still not looking to sell it down. Alrighty. You're most welcome there, Hyder. Hi, AL, how are you doing? Alrighty, so with that, we've gone through all of it. We've gone through all of it. The dollar index is still trading at 102.50, just below 102.60. I think that it could consolidate before pushing down, maybe slightly before further downside again. So just watch that. If it does push up, maybe it's slightly before coming back down as well. With that said, again, the link is there. Do make sure you join us in the channel. Right, the link is there. Do make sure you join us in the channel. And then please trade well, trade safe. Take care now. Bye.